flag.
That looks familiar.
There we are. We are on the stream. We're live. We are live here in the Bayou Retreats Game House. What?
We were captivated by the intro video.
Watching the intro video, right? So if you're joining us, you're right on time. It's 8 o'clock. We are starting right on time, which is amazing. We are here for the debut of the Sign Esports, the Founders podcast. Hopefully you're watching. If you're listening, you won't be able to see this, but if you're watching, don't get offended if we don't look at you because we don't know where the cameras are really. And this is really an audio podcast anyway, but it's a heavily video enhanced audio podcast. So if you're watching, you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be cool. So we are the founders of Sign Esports. We'll introduce you to the fourth missing one here in a minute, but
he's over there in that chair.
He sits right here in spirit. So it's about time to go to our first segment, which is features some licensed, some unlicensed music. This is the only time. I promise I'll get something better next time. But Justin's gonna write us some sweet 16-bit music for this because this is reliving the 90s, and I thought this would be a good one to start with because we just went in through introductions, and we're gonna talk about video games on this podcast mostly. That's how we're doing this, and so I wanted to start with a segment that was kind of about the video games that kind of made us who we are, and the ones that, like, when we close our eyes and imagine the good old days. Oh, this is the one where I was supposed to check why this music messed up.
This keeps going.
Yeah, but luckily it's still good Chrono Trigger music. Oh, more good Chrono Trigger music.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's gonna stop in a second.
How many do you have loaded in there?
Huh?
How many do you have loaded in there? How many is it gonna do?
That's it. It's over.
Okay.
So here's what we're gonna do. Retro, reliving the 90s. We might do different things different weeks. This week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about kind of a defining video game from our formative years. And I'm going to say not like coming of age years, more like really formative years. Like when we were, 6, 8, 10 years old, not in high school before that. So that's what I want to do. We're going to go, I think, to Eric first, and then we'll hit Dustin.
Do Dustin first.
Okay, Dustin. All right, so Dustin, what would you, when you were 8 or 10 year old, elementary school, junior high school, what would you say was a defining video game that when you close your eyes and think of being 10, that you think of playing?
It either has to be Shining Force or Toe Jam and Earl. And I'd be really hard-pressed to pick which one. Probably played more Toe Jam and Earl. But the game that brought the three of us together, I distinctly remember being at Cat's Video. Y'all were spending the night that weekend, back whenever I had my waterbed and my little, 8-inch... TV and the Sega hooked up in the corner, and Eric walks over and he goes, "Let's get Mutant League football. Mutant League hockey was awesome." I'm like, okay, cool. And then Corey walks over and goes, "Let's get this game. It's got a skeleton on it." And me and Eric both laughed at him. We're like, whatever. And my mom was nice enough to go, "All right, we'll get them both, whatever." So me and Eric play Mutant League football. We have no idea what we're doing. Like, this game's stupid. So we turn it off, and then Corey sits down and turns on Shining Force, and we were hooked. I mean, we were terrible at it. We stayed up all night and got to chapter 2, which is spending 8 hours to get 20 minutes into the game. But that, I always go back to Shining Force, or the other thing I did was whenever me and my cousin would hang out, we would always play Toe Jam and Earl. Those are definitely the two games that have clocked the most time in my life on.
There may or may not be a trivia question or two later on in the show about that first night of playing Shining Force. May or may not be included in the trivia questions. And if we don't ask that trivia question, I'm going to bring up a couple things. So that's great. Shining Force definitely on there. It wouldn't be on the trivia list if it wasn't a defining video game for all of us. Eric, go.
So I was thinking we had this question, right? So this is not.
Yeah, it's in the rundown.
We're not pretending this is a live question.
Right? No, they had some time to think about some of these. The trivia questions have not been pre-screened, but the topics.
So I've tried really hard to convince myself to say a niche game like Ogre Battle, or Shining Force, or Final Fantasy Tactics, or a niche game like that. Especially Ogre Battle, because I still play it. But it's none of those. It's Chrono Trigger. It could never not be Chrono Trigger. And that was actually when we were 11.
Yeah.
Which you changed. You added that earlier time frame at the last second. But Chrono Trigger was when we were 11. And we bought it.
I wanted it to be a core experience.
Dude, it is.
No, that's what I said.
It is. We were 11.
Honestly,
My mom bought it for us in Toro Hills.
Toro Hills. We were at
We were
Minster
in a
Street.
hotel room.
I remember it vividly.
And mom bought it for us. It was like $70, which
Yep.
was like in today's dollars, that's like at least $200.
Yeah.
And we played
it's
the
like
heck
regular
out of
video
it.
game price.
So it was like $70. Mom bought it for us. I remember when she drove up with
Sent her
it.
to the store to buy it, and she came back with the right game.
We played the heck out of it. We've played the heck out of it. We played every nook and cranny of it. We memorized everything about it. We
All the
studied up
endings.
on it. We looked up everything you could look up. Before the internet was like totally easily, all that stuff easily accessible, but we memorized everything. So it's never going to be anything other than Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. So that kind of transitions nicely into mine, because I also thought Chrono Trigger. If you guys are listening or watching, you don't know this. Me and Eric are identical twins, and we met Dustin when we were 7 years old, 8 years old,
Third
grade,
grade,
whatever that is. What's third grade? 8 years old.
That's 8.
So we're identical twins. Obviously, our formative years were very, very similar. So we kind of just thought, we were wondering if we were going to say the exact same game. And so I also thought Chrono Trigger, but I ended up going back one step further to Final Fantasy 3. It used to be back in OG days, Final Fantasy 3. Now it's called Final Fantasy 6 if you're a later consumer of it. But the reason I picked Final Fantasy 3 / Final Fantasy 6 is because of Chrono Trigger. Because when Chrono Trigger came out, we absolutely loved it. We knew we were going to love it. We wanted it immediately on launch day. And we wouldn't have wanted that if it wouldn't have been for Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 3. And so thinking back, I was like, man, that's what really made us into JRPG nerds, I think, is Final Fantasy 3. So that when Chrono Trigger came along, we already knew that that was the game that we have to have. So I picked Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 3. It's also a game that we have everything memorized about. We've been through all the different nooks and crannies of it as well, beaten it a million times. That's my memory. That's our game. We'll talk more about. Obviously, that's not the only games, but we'll save.
I'm
some
sure
for-
that reasoning was, if we just max out all these espers, we'll have all these spells. Then we can not allow the planet.
something will come up. Yeah, eventually.
Not even realizing that that was before power leveling was really a thing.
and we had no idea that we were less than halfway done with the game, or about. That's probably about halfway done with the game. So that's
So we got
that's
Shining Force and Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 6. We are definitely nerds.
That is a core. That is a strong core of JRPG super nerd history. And look at us. We grew up perfectly normal,
How about that?
Arguably.
arguably.
Two of us grew
two
up
of us
perfectly normal.
one is still getting there. So we got those three. Those are three great games. We'll add to them the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about some more, because these segments, we may not do every one of these segments every week, but we'll come back and hit them. So moving on from that, we're gonna hit another segment that is kind of talking about esports. And while we're moving into this segment, we got to talk about the guy that gave us the idea for this segment, which is the music coming? There it
Yes.
goes. Yeah. So we were at SciFicon a couple of weeks ago, and we were doing a panel, and there was a gentleman that came up and asked us a question. He started talking about Madden and FIFA and sports games, and he said it would be a great idea to have a
George White.
is that his name, George?
I feel like that was it.
If you're in the stream, and I mean, if
Or I
you're
could be
in the
wrong.
Discord and you recognize that story, he came up and asked us a question, talked about esports, and had some really great insight into how cool it would be to have a Sports Center type broadcast about esports. And we kind of said that is a great idea. We're going to do it, and we're going to make sure that you're involved. And,
And
then
we're going
we
to call it Esports Center.
we're going to call it Esports Center. And then we kind of forgot your name.
Yep.
So if you're in the Discord, please take credit for that, because we love you. It was an awesome idea, and we're going to do it. So it's on the rundown as announcement. Do y'all know what the announcement's going to be? Anybody know?
Is it the Halo team?
Nope.
No, it's the Smash Tournament at Lake Air Adventure.
It is. It is the Smash Tournament Lake Air Adventure. So
What's the date, first of all? You know
June the
date?
6th,
So
5 to
it's-
9.
So it's June the 6th. We'd love to have 100 players. We have enough equipment at Lake Air Adventures already basically built to do 100 players easily. We have a giant LED wall. We have great sound in there. We have a multi-camera setup, and we have it's gonna be fantastically awesome. If for everybody that comes, and so everybody seems to come play in it.
Dustin ran our
Cash prizes and loot prizes.
Sweet
both.
loot.
Sweet loot and cash prizes for serious players. Casual players also very welcome. Kids welcome. There's no specific age limit, but if you're under a certain age, you have to be attended by an adult. but everybody's welcome to come play.
Have we settled on the basically like door prizes, the method for that yet?
So we're definitely committed to a format that's going to include kind of a casual side, a consolation bracket or a casual bracket, so that there's some type of reward for playing and having fun, even if you're not the best Smash player. We haven't quite decided how we're going to do that, but there's definitely going to be, we came up with some ideas like, the person that gets into the tournament the farthest that drives a Toyota, or the person that gets into the tournament the farthest that is under 10 years old, or that kind of thing. So we're going to make sure that everybody has fun and everybody's well rewarded. So
say when it is again, June the 6th.
The tournament is on June the 6th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Lake Area Adventures in Lake Charles, here in Lake Charles. And it's free, totally free. You just have to get into Lake Area Adventures, which costs money. You can either be a member, there's some day passes, there's some hourly things. So there's going to be some options on Lake Area Adventures' website for specifically how to get into the tournament. But right now, you can find out about it by going to signesports.com, and it's right there. There's a blog post about it right on the front page. So that's that. We love esports. We are going to continue producing events as long as you guys will keep playing in them, and we're hoping this is going to be a great way for us to produce a great event and have somebody that's great at reaching people reach the people and fill the slots with it. All right. So if you guys don't have anything else to add to that, we are going to move right on to the next segment, which is, I have in here State of Esports. So what I want to do now is, and this is, I don't have a segment intro for this because it's still esports related. So we had if you guys were at SciFicon, then you probably already got a little bit of this, but a lot of people were at SciFicon doing other things, not really paying attention to our panel.
Totally fair.
Which is, hey, you know what? That's reasonable. So I want to just recap kind of what we talked about at SciFicon about the current state of esports. So do you guys remember what we talked about and what y'all said? Anything you want to add? Anything you want to recap? At SciFicon, when we were talking about what's going on in the esports world and what's going on in...
Well, you touched on how esports is ostensibly died because of COVID and pushback from manufacturers, people staying at home, and basically the lackluster attitude about coming out, leaving the home. And I think a lot of that is true. I think a bigger part of that in our particular scene is that we're just not reaching people because our friends are in this room right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's not as big of a problem about people being willing to come out so much as reaching the people that do want to come out and the right audience.
Yeah, we talked about people still playing the games, but not playing them in a live sports environment. It's probably bigger than just us. That's definitely a problem that we have, is people don't come play the games in a live sports environment, but that's probably bigger than us.
But then there's part of it that is like, well, if you bring in big players and bring in big talent, that'll get more. Maybe you don't get as diverse of a player base, but you get spectators that want to be involved in it if it's a big game. That was one of the cool things about our StarCraft tournament that we did in 2011 or 2013, and then our big Halo tournament that we just did in 2022 was bringing in high tier broadcast talent and players talent. Got a lot of interest from the community to go and interact with those kind of celebrity people. So that was kind of a cool thing. The other side, you lose a little bit of interest, maybe if there's people that have anxiety about the competition level. But then if you have enough, high quality talent, you can maybe get some more interest from the spectator side. So I think it's really, we're just kind of trying to figure it out. And I think everybody kind of is too. Like, one of the reasons we're doing this podcast is to try to figure out, like, is this a way that the community wants to engage? And like, do people want to just kind of watch us talk about what's important to us and what's important to the community and kind of be involved that way? And so that's one of the ways we're going to try this. It's one of the reasons we're trying an esports event at Lake Area Adventures, is to see if maybe that will work. Maybe that will work. Maybe that will work. Maybe that will work.
I think consolation prizes on that will help that a lot as well. Another thing is, whenever you have more, so if you can split the difference, you have the not great players, but there's a bunch of them versus not a lot of community interest. Well, the more players you have, those people all have families and stuff that are going to come watch, especially whenever you dial into kids and such. And we saw that with high school esports. The middle school parents were absolutely the loudest.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't know what's going on, but he's having fun, and I'm happy to be here.
That was the golden age of local esports for sure. Is high school esports season 2 was definitely the golden age of live local esports. Hopefully we can get back to that.
Yeah, and I think that was a kind of a perfect moment where we were able to combine our talents, which is creating a great production value a tournament that's very well produced, and then a broadcast that's very well produced for people that don't play and maybe don't even understand the game, but they do understand an exciting atmosphere. And so that's one of the things that was just really great that we're kind of trying to find again, is how can we create that kind of perfect storm of interest from players and interest from the community and a quality broadcast and production that all kind of brings it all together. So that's what we love doing.
Yeah. I feel like it's really hard to communicate the energy of a live event if you haven't experienced it either. Because you think, like, if you haven't been to a live event, you're like, I mean, I play video games on my couch.
Just a video game.
Whatever.
What's the big deal?
But whenever you go to those live events, like the very first Overwatch League production, which y'all decided to not go to.
Yeah, we bailed on that.
And so, like, I'm sitting there in the chair, and there's just the whole arena is full. You can feel people, like the reverberations in the room from people pounding on their chairs and stuff. And just the energy was so high. And I'm generally not affected by that particularly a whole lot. And even I was caught in it. It was compulsory to stand up and shout.
Yeah. And we went to the WCS America in 2012 in StarCraft 2's kind of heyday. We're going to talk about, man, we're going to talk about Halo on this podcast so much. We're going to talk about StarCraft on this podcast so much. So just get ready. Not on this episode maybe, but it's coming. But what he's describing at the Overwatch League when it started is very much like what we saw at the WCS America.
Except WCS was much smaller than Overwatch League. Overwatch League was how many people in those stands?
It was a stadium, so it was about the size. How much does Burton hold?
Yeah, 7,000, 8,000.
It was thousands. Yeah,
WCS was a few hundred.
Yeah, it wasn't thousands. Yeah,
smaller venues.
Yeah,
more like it would be at Lake Air Adventure.
Yeah, and I think stadium esports is really what we just love, and we're trying to find out right now. If you're listening or watching, is do you love it too, or is it just gone? You know, like if stadium esports is a thing, we want to find it and we want to create it. But that kind of comes back full circle to one of our biggest challenges is just communicating with people and finding out what they want, finding out where they are, finding out what they want, finding out what they want to do, you know? So I think that pretty much sums it up. We talked about Halo a lot at SciFicon with our friend Scooter, who's going to come on later and talk about Halo. We talked about, there was that drunk guy that kept asking us the questions about
Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah. And then luckily Scooter eloquently swooped in and shooed him away. But that's kind of what we talked about at our panel at SciFicon, which we thought it was cool to do. If you guys want us to do it again, let us know. That brings us to, so look, just for you guys can't read this, but you can see on my rundown, I have 27 minutes and 30 seconds is when intermission is supposed to start, and that is at the end of about 6 minutes of discussion about the state of esports. So I think we're nailing it on the progress on our way through this.
Way to go.
So we would love to, dig into these things a little more, but we're going to wait and let you guys tell us what you want us to dig into more before we just bore you for 30 minutes talking about one topic. On this week's show, we're going to hit them all and then see what you guys want. But we're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and we will be right back after this quick break that does not include any sponsors, because the only sponsor is Lake Charles Toyota.
Get us live. Are we live?
Yeah. I didn't realize I had that transition broke. It was not supposed to loop, for those of you that are watching. If you're listening, we're going to edit this out. You'll never even know. But if you're watching, that was supposed to not loop. It was supposed to play a transition and get us back to live.
But what it did instead was that super harsh and awkward cut straight back to us when we weren't ready.
But that's okay.
But shout out to, we got a couple guys commenting in the stream. I mean, on the Twitch. Arrow Cross just says, woo! That's Arrow. And then Jay Lyons.
That sounds appropriate.
Jay Lyons mentions Call of Duty and Apex Legends. We'll catch up with Call of Duty and Apex Legends later in the broadcast.
Yeah.
So thanks for putting some comments in there. We will respond if we happen to see them.
One other thing that we missed that we have to do is we have to talk about, just very briefly, the fourth founder.
Right.
We can't leave Jeremy out here. We have this. I forgot to put up the party screen.
Oh yeah.
BBQ Bathrobe is one of the founders of Sign Esports. We consider ourselves the 4 founders. There's some.
Is there? Hold on. I don't know this barbecue bathrobe story.
You know the barbecue bathrobe story?
No.
Okay.
Does that go with his sheeple pole?
No, it's not related to the sheeple pole. It's actually related to a very obscure video from the VMAs in like 2004 with Jimmy Fallon, where he was playing Anakin Skywalker. Okay. And what he did is he took the scene from Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out of the ship and they there's like the initial face-off with Padme before they start fighting. But he replaces all of the Hayden Christensen portions with Jimmy Fallon with himself, and he rewrote all the dialogue to where when he was playing Anakin, he was saying all kinds of funny stuff, and
It's hilarious.
It's really
People
funny.
need to go look it up right now. How would they search for it?
You have to just search for. I
Really
searched
just
for
Jimmy
Lava
Fallon.
Planet.
Jimmy Fallon,
I searched
Lava
for Jimmy
Planet.
Fallon, Anakin, Lava Planet.
Yeah.
and you can get it's a very old video. There's only like one copy of it. It's like 240p. But one of the jokes in there is Obi-Wan comes down out of the ship, and Anakin says, "Why are you wearing my bathrobe?" Because he's a Jedi robe or whatever, and then he eventually he ends up saying something about there's barbecue sauce on his bathrobe, and that ends up relating to only Siths deal in absolutes or something. I don't remember, but he does this very, very roundabout way of integrating something about Obi-Wan getting barbecue sauce on Anakin's bathrobe in order to make the dialogue and the rest of the scene work. It's very bizarre, but it's hilarious, and we all love it, and Jeremy loves it, and he decided to change his name.
So what I was laughing about is the reason we all changed our names is because we all had very questionable.
We did not all. Y'all.
Well, this was
No,
so
hey, no.
barbecue. So barbecue bathrobe is Jeremy's character name, primarily in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And actually, go back, put the party screen back up. I think these are pretty much our character names.
There we go.
That we use a lot in a lot of games, but specifically in WoW, in World of Warcraft, these are the names that we use, and we all had names that were not for public consumption.
I would say they were not for
They were not really for any consumption.
not for anyone's consumption at all.
And we eventually...
Not all of us, just you and Jeremy, really.
You don't remember what yours was?
Oh yeah, I do remember. Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I just didn't use it as
we
much.
gotta stop giggling.
Yeah.
We gotta stop giggling. So all of our names were very questionable choices from when no one really knew who we were, and eventually we all turned into grown-ups, and we decided we have to change our names to something that is not vulgar.
We're gonna make it.
being
We're gonna
honest.
make a change to the rundown here. We're gonna put off Spartans Never Die, Halo. We're gonna talk about it later. Right now, we're gonna talk about where all these names came from. These. So not the other ones. The other ones are gone forever. We're gonna talk about
The
these.
other ones, the vulgar ones that are gone forever, we're never talking about those.
And they
again.
weren't that bad.
Barbecue
They just
bathrobe
were.
we just did.
They just were questionable.
Partisan
They weren't
Horse is a great story. Do Partisan
Yeah,
Horse.
okay, I'll do Partisan Horse first. Partisan Horse is a way back in the era of Xbox Live Gold, right when it was not even called Xbox Live Gold, it was called Xbox Live on the original Xbox, Halo 2 era. When you created an account, it gave you a randomly generated series of characters and words. And at that time, when I created my first ever Xbox Live account in probably, I don't know, 2005, 2007 or something like that, something in that era, in that neighborhood probably, the name that it gave me was Partisan Horse 37, and it sounded cool and it stuck, and I just think it's a cool name. So I've stuck with it forever. I've kind of bounced around a couple different things, but I will always and forever be Partisan Horse, and I won't ever be that other thing again.
Right. You remember it now? All right. So Face Tank is a relatively new name that I use in stuff, but I always pick in all the party games, if the healer character is terrible and nobody wants to play the healer character, then I kind of take one for the team, play the healer character. But if that's not the case, like in WoW, he likes to play the healer. What I would love to do in all games, I always love to play the tank. And I'm not great at WoW, but because the only thing I do is tank, that's the only thing I ever do. I focus on one character all the time, and I do it really, really well. I'm a pretty good tank in WoW. And in WoW, what you don't want to do, you don't want to go in there and stand in front of the boss and just stand in everything and just let everything hit you in the face. That's called face tanking. So it's a self-deprecating term.
That's how you Orisa too.
That's how you Orisa too. You just tank it with your face. Tank it means take the hits for your team. Y'all know that, but
Yeah.
the viewers may not know that. Take the hits for your team.
I should hope if they're watching
And
an
If
esports
they're
podcast
watching
that they know
as deep
that.
as cut as this one,
I happen to know there's a very good likelihood that our mom might be watching.
Yeah.
She's not going to know what it is. So it means take it with your face, take the hits with your face, which is not the way you want to take the hits. But that's where Face Tank came from. And I just love playing the tank and building the tankiest possible character. and like can't do any damage whatsoever, like that's me. Like the less damage I do, the better. The more I like it, the less damage I do. And just take the hits. That's what I do.
Don't you also have 0 magic points in this?
Yes,
Maybe
I did.
so, probably
On the party
so,
screen,
yeah.
I think I gave you 0 magic points.
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
hit
all
points. The most hit
simplicity.
points, 750 hit points.
That's
and no
right.
magic.
You go in there and you just take the hits with your face. Nothing complex.
Corey, your stats kind of suck.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little self-deprecating thing also, because since I'm the host, I made myself a level 1
We
host.
need
So
it-
everybody knows I'm an absolute nub.
What we
and
need
we're
to
making
do
this up
is
as we go.
you need to be a level 1 host, and when we decide it's a new season, you need to gain
can
a
level
level.
up.
There you
And
go.
Everyone else, each appearance they have, they should gain a level for the appearance. That's what we need to do. We're making this up as we go.
Mom says, thanks. I did not know what that meant.
Perfect. There you go.
All right, Grizzletoe. Where did Grizzletoe come from?
Actually, whenever I was at LSU, I was making an FTP server. And whenever you use Qt FTP and you type in all your numbers and everything, one of the things it asks is for your welcome splash screen to have a message, whatever. And just off the top of my head, I said, oh, I need something for this. Welcome to Gargamel Grizzletoe's Black Metal Bonanza, because as an English major, I like alliteration. And I said that, I typed it in, and then my cousin logged in to get something off my server and goes, Gargamel Grizzletoe? I was like, yeah, it's kind of funny. He's like, I like that. So then I went in the other room and turned Grizzletoe into a song, and then like it just sort of has lived on. It's like, all right.
And it has stuck with you for quite some time.
Yeah,
and luckily
since
for you,
2000.
and it was non-offensive enough and kind of generic enough to make its way from obscurity into incredible fame with you.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to jettison it when you became famous.
And Grizzletoe is a famous name locally
It is a very famous
in the esports scene.
Yeah, people. Yeah, there are actually people that know you as Grizz, and they have no idea what your name. That your
So
name is Dustin.
funny that you should mention that. What I was fixing to say is like we actually kind of know you as Grizz and then also as Dustin. So
Yeah.
like Grizzletoe is somebody that we talk to.
Yes.
And then Dustin is someone else that we talk to at different times.
Yep. All right, so I love that. That was a great aside. We're talk about reliving the good old days and where the names came from. So we have a few minutes. So we skipped over Spartans Never Die, which is where we just talk about Halo. Like I said, there's going to be plenty of Halo to talk about in this podcast. We're going to skip that. Do y'all want to spend a little bit of time talking about the game of the day, which is Helldivers, or do y'all want to wait until we get our flag up where it goes? Dustin bought us a Super Earth flag specifically for this spot. If you're not watching, if you're
I mean, it
listening,
wasn't specifically
you can't
for
see where
that
I'm
spot.
gesturing, but this is supposed to have a Super Earth flag. He bought it for us. We got it, and we just never hung it. So y'all want to wait and talk about Helldivers later?
I think we should talk about Helldivers for like 30 seconds and let Dustin tell us about what's going on in Helldivers right now. And then we should also plug Helldivers for the few watchers that we have. They should play it because it's super fun and awesome.
Yeah. I agree. So, Helldivers. So, Dustin's going to start us off and tell us a little bit about, because me and Eric haven't played in like a couple weeks. We got kids and we haven't had a chance to play. So, Dustin, take 30 seconds, catch us up on what's going on. What major orders have we recently won or lost?
So we managed to pull out a 10-planet defend, like in the 11th hour. I think the Australians did it for us, and then there was another one after that where you had to choose between 2 planets to save. One got anti-tank mines, and one got this airburst rocket that's basically an instant team kill. And
Your own team.
Your own team.
your own team.
Yeah.
And then they changed some spawning stuff. So solo games are, there's going to be more patrols, but it's basically it used to be a 1-to-6 ratio. If you had 4 people, it was 1-to-1. If you had 1, it was 1-to-6. Now it's just keeps an even ratio on spawning.
Nice.
So running solo will be harder now.
So, I'm gonna parlay that a little bit into the solo versus 4, whatever, into what one of my favorite things about Helldivers is and why I think it's kind of latched on. And then y'all each hit real quick, like, favorite thing about Helldivers. And to me, it's the ability to join and rejoin a game you dropped out of and drop
that's
into a game in the
huge,
middle of your buddy's done getting his kids in bed 5 or 10 minutes sooner than you. He goes and starts a 45-minute mission. You join it 10 minutes, 15 minutes later. That ability to drop in and out is just awesome. I love that. You can go ahead and get started. That's very cool. And then that kind of really makes it easy to just get into and play casually. Yeah. You don't have to wait. Oh man, they just started one. I missed it.
Works super great for whenever your computer crashes every 15 minutes. Too.
If you're like old Grizz and your computer can't handle it, and then you can hop right back in, or if your internet goes down or whatever, because that's one of the most frustrating things, especially when online only games come out, is if they have connectivity problems, the host goes down, like when the server goes down, kicks you out of the game. Halo was really bad about that originally. You'd spawn into the game, as soon as the game launched, you drop out and your whole team is stuck playing 3. Not only can you not rejoin, they can't drop out, they're just going to lose 3 versus 4. So that's one of the things I love about it. Eric, what do you love about it?
I think it kind of captures the not PvP of WoW. So like you're not in there getting your brains beat in by other players that just want to beat your brains in. So I like that you're playing against computer. I like to play against computer opponents, progressively more and more and more difficult computer opponents. So the ladder climb that you're doing is how good can you get, so that it's like how good can you do against the common opponent. That's the way WoW. That's what the what do you call it? The feedback loop, or the I can't remember what you call it in video games. What the term is in video games, but the loop that your brain goes through is, let me get better so I can kill more in Helldivers, so I can kill more bugs. Let me get better so I can kill more bugs. And then the buddies are all also trying to get better and kill more bugs.
Yeah.
But you're not directly going in there and getting your brains beat up by another player. So I like the casual nature of it. It keeps the competitiveness just a notch down. It keeps the competitiveness just a notch down below threatening, where it's not threatening to go play it and have a good time. And games that make you laugh are automatically fun. We have a lot that you screw yourself up in WoW a lot and make yourself laugh. I mean, like that kind of thing happens. It has that kind of same feel. Making yourself laugh and making your teammates laugh is definitely a fun part of it. In Helldivers, it just so happens to be that it's usually by killing them accidentally.
Yeah.
And I think the no friendly fire turn off button, the developers have said we're never turning off friendly fire. It's part of the game. Friendly fire is part of this game. I think that's so awesome they're doing that, because like accidentally blowing up your buddies is funny. There's nothing not funny about it.
Yeah, it is awesome. Dustin, favorite thing about Helldivers before we move on to the mailbag?
Tooltips. Friendly fire isn't. It's my favorite tooltip.
Friendly fire
isn't. Yes.
And it's short, sweet, fantastic. But no, running around and like Helldivers isn't inherently fun. It is fun playing with your friends, and it's the same kind of shenanigans as
Sea of Thieves. I was going to say Sea of Thieves. Yep.
The fun is trying to get out of this pickle that your buddy has put you in.
Yep. Yeah, that's there's so much to unpack there. We're going to talk about Helldivers a lot too, and we need to have a whole section about next time. We need to have a category on the rundown that's memes, because man, Helldivers.
Oh, the memes are there. The
fire.
Memes are fire.
Okay, so we're gonna go hit some questions. This segment is called the mailbag, questions from our Discord. So it's very simple. Step 1, join the Discord, discord.gg/9esports. Step 2, ask a question. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go through some questions that some people have already asked us. Let's see if I can go here and get the questions. I have them on my list here, all ready to go. Question number 1, Haunted Otis Hertz asks, which we're not going to say people's real names, but we know who you are. We love you. You're awesome. What tech planning goes into an esports tournament? We got about 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll take this one. 2 minutes. Don't let me go too long.
Okay.
The first tech planning, it starts with, obviously, what game are you going to play? And then the next question after what game are you going to play is,
what does Corey want to do?
Well, okay. So in our planning, what does Corey want us to do is always like above everything else, and you don't necessarily know how it's going to apply to your situation that you're currently in, but that's always above everything else. But so what game are you going to play? And the next most important question is, does it need internet? Because the most important thing for your esports tournament, well, let me go back one. Are you going to play it live in person? So I think we're assuming this is all based on in person. Does it need internet? And if it needs internet, the number one tech requirement is get good, reliable, hardline internet. And
we learned that lesson at the League of Legends
tournament. That's right. Yep. So the League of Legends tournament, we had to do it on Wi-Fi cellular hotspots.
That was fun.
Just for people's purposes, for tech purposes. Bandwidth is almost always not the issue. Reliability and stability is what is always the issue. So it doesn't matter if you have a 5 gig connection. If it goes out every once in a while, that doesn't do you any good. So that's the number one thing is, do you need internet, and can you get good internet?
Yep.
Aside from that, the next tech thing is you have to be good at knowing or figuring out how many pieces of hardware do you need to play the amount of players you have in the amount of time that you have allotted. So that would be the next biggest tech thing is how are you going to acquire enough hardware to get your tournament played in not 87 hours,
Yeah. We've also for a few years struggled
and
with
we
that.
have struggled with that too. And we made some parents mad a few times by not being prepared. Well, like in high school esports, we had great turnouts, and one night we had 200 Smash players, and we were not technologically prepared. We didn't have we had enough hardware, but we weren't good enough at running that much hardware with the people that we had. And a tournament, a very common problem you can have with tournaments, tech related, is everything works fine, but you just don't have enough, and then your tournament takes way too long.
Yeah. It's kind of similar question, but not so much about the tech, but about the personality. Arrow asks, when outsourcing for help and volunteers, what are some key details of people that you look for to bring in and help, and how do you go about sorting out roles for those individuals? So that's kind of like what tech planning goes into. This is like what people planning goes into.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, you just sort of meet people, feel them out, see what their interests are, because if they're interested in it, they're going to do a better job at it than like, hey, go coil that cable.
Yeah,
I don't like coiling cable.
we don't do resumes. Like we don't read resumes or like ask. We have to get to know you.
Well,
And-
about two Cyphercons ago, we started sort of looking at people and saying, is this person going to be good for this?
Yeah.
For the 10 years prior to that.
I mean, that is kind of how we got Arrow.
For the 10 years, well, no, that's that year
Yeah.
we started looking, but the 10 years prior, no planning.
Yeah.
But a year or two ago, that's how we got Jack. Jack,
Right.
we were looking for a...
That's true. We did find- we got it.
Because
Got
me
it,
and Jeremy
yeah.
know the tech, but we needed somebody who was going to be there all the time, so that's how we got Jack. We looked for people with that expertise. Mostly what we have what we need that we don't have, and like Arrow was saying, how do you find people to fit the right roles? What we need that we don't have is personalities to be on camera and cast. That's what we usually struggle the most to get.
Arrow says, I consider myself a happy accident.
A happy accident. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But people that are good on camera and cast, those are always hard roles to fill, and you can't really fill them without kind of just rolling the dice and saying, is this person good at it?
That's a great, like we have to get to know you. And once we get to know you, it might be the case we put you in one role, it wasn't the best for you, or maybe you did okay, but we realized you're better at something else. Ren Spider is a perfect example of that. Ren Spider came on at our first Halo tournament just to switch cameras, just to spectate the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, this kid knows this stuff pretty good. And he was like, hey, can I go hop on and cast Call of Duty? It turns out he was a really good first-person shooter caster.
Yep.
This awesome baritone voice, and turns out to be a great caster. So the most important part, I think, to
and then Arrow's just good at everything.
well, there's Arrow. He's good at everything. The crew that he came with, we kicked them all off the curb and said, that guy, though,
Yeah,
we're
right.
bringing that guy back. So, yeah, Arrow, we love you. We got to move through these. Let's see. It's Me asks, what's the process of starting a gaming center like the one at Lake Air Adventures?
Okay, let's take that real quick.
Yeah, let's just knock that out.
So a gaming center like the one at Lake Air Adventures is a huge undertaking. If you want to do something like that, first of all, you need a tremendous amount of resources, and it's probably not realistic unless you live in a very large city. So in Lake Charles, there's already a couple. There's one. There's
the Holodeck.
There's Lake Air Adventures. Then there's that Game Zone in Sulphur, and there's Game to Life that does kind of sort of semi. They don't do esports specifically, but they do the same kind of like in-person venue stuff. But it starts with you have to be good at running a very large business, and we'd be glad to talk to people about that. But what you probably would be better off doing is getting involved at the Game Lounge at Lake Air Adventures, and helping them make that a success. Because it requires a tremendous amount of capital and time and business acumen. That I'm not saying whoever this asker is. I'm not saying they don't have it. I don't know them. They might have it. They might have all those things. But that's a very, very long question. It's a very, very complicated thing to open a business like that.
Dustin, I want you to take this one. It's kind of a convoluted question, but it's I think it's we'll sum it up. But with the new golden age of fighting games currently underway, how the FGC is slowly growing over time with the accessibility of modern fighting games, and with Louisiana having a strong Tekken and Street Fighter scene, will there be any sort of shift to bring in more fighting game representation, or any shift to improve current fighting game tournaments in the foreseeable future? The reason I want Dustin to take that one is because he took on kind of playing the tournaments at the last Cyphercon, and I think what that question really is saying is, this is a Smash town. It's always been anime and Smash, and based on what we've seen, is it reasonable to expect that there may be some other fighting games that are building up some steam?
I think Tekken had a really good, strong turnout. It had an almost as strong turnout as Smash, which is an age-old scene, and we have players that come all the way from Lafayette. And so, just with every other tournament that we throw, if we have the players, we'll do whatever. There are venue considerations. Lake Area Adventures right now is letting us use that facility. And so if people want to become members of Lake Area Adventures to go to these tournaments or buy day passes, as long as we have signups, we can do those things. And so it's really just whatever the community speaks out to. Lai Ren, by the way, happens to be another happy accident. He is the one who cast Halo fighting games for us this year.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
And he cast a little bit last year just as a, hey, can I go cast? And he did a great job, and we just didn't get in touch with him this year.
Yeah.
And we were happy to have him back.
But Tekken, we'll do Tekken.
I think Halleck's question, Overwatch question mark, it kind of goes to the same place.
Okay, so Overwatch and Jay Lyons said, what about Apex and what about Call of Duty? I think first thing is we want to get this tournament at Lake Area Adventures out of the way. Not get it out of the way, but get it going, see how it goes, see how it's attended, and see if we have good success there. But our opposition to other games is non-existent. Right. We have no opposition at all to Call of Duty, Apex. The Battle Royales are probably are maybe a tiny bit below everything else just because it's logistically difficult to do the Battle Royales.
Right, because you can't, not all of them support a hosted
Fortnite
server. There isn't it requires a lot of either self-reporting or TOs to watch your screens and report your stats.
So we may kind of stay away a little bit from the Battle Royales at first, but Overwatch, Apex, Call of Duty, we're totally in for those. And if we can have success at Lake Area Adventures, where we don't have to rent a venue and set up, $100,000 worth of stuff just to have 8 people show up and play. If we can have some success there and establish a place we have tournaments at, then we will totally do Overwatch and we'll totally do Apex and Call of Duty.
And Tekken and fighting games are such a no-brainer. They run so fast, so smooth. Anything on consoles runs so well.
And we will start doing a rotation of games that includes all these games, but it kind of requires having some success at Lake Area Adventures, having a location to play repeated games at. Yeah. But we're in for all those games.
So the last question before we move on to trivia, we got a few minutes. We might, I don't know if we're going to be able to quit after 5 minutes of trivia. We might have to go 10 minutes of trivia. But Chronic asks, will Sign Esports ever have a partnership or an alliance or something along those lines with an online gaming community? So this is Chronic. We know who you are. You talk to us at SciFicon. We're totally pro that. We want to produce your tournaments. We want to be your production company. We want to produce the tournament. If you can put a group together, they don't have to be here. We would love for them to be in Lake Charles. They don't have to be. If you've got a group that wants to put on a tournament, let us help you with that. If you can find the players, we can absolutely put on the game. We would love to do that.
What I was going to say is tell them like info@signesports.com or where they email.
Yeah, you can email us at esports@lakecharlesflorida.com or the Discord, discord.gg/signesports. That's really the best place. But the answer to that question is a hard yes. We would love to get involved in helping you put on some online tournaments. If you can bring us a player base, we can put you on a tournament.
And we have the level of resources it takes to help an online tournament, or even like the Halo podcast guys that you started to deal with. If you can give Corey a good idea, he'll give you some money, basically, because it doesn't require a lot of resources to help little organizations get things going. If you just need a little bit of money, you just need a little bit of hardware, we can probably help with those kind of things. All that's required basically is you bring us a good idea. Yeah. If you bring us a good idea, we will support it if it's esports related.
It's like the esports Shark Tank.
That's perfect. We want to be esports Shark Tank. Yeah. We want people to bring us good ideas, and then we have a little bit of resources that we can use to help funnel those good ideas into bigger ideas.
Yeah. So he's already in the Discord. We're going to continue that conversation. That would be a great thing. Our biggest adventure into online tournaments was we did way back almost over 10 years ago. We did an online qualifier for our StarCraft 2 in-person tournament, which was really fun. We had like I don't know, probably 100 players in the online qualifier. We had like 16 seeds that were brought in by the nature of their like WCS points, and then like 16 seeds that played in an online qualifier. We had people from all over the world trying to play in, and it was really fun. We had like 8 computers set up in one room where we were hosting the tournament from, spectating a bunch of games all at the same time. That was really fun. And then we did Warzone Boot Camp. You remember Warzone Boot Camp?
Yep.
That was a lot of fun also. That was our only attempt to do a battle royale. But it was a lot of fun too. It was really difficult to get everybody, 150 players in the same game. That was a real challenge. So like Eric was saying earlier, there is some challenge to the battle royales, but we have dipped our toes into online, and we love it. We would love to be involved. So the way this is gonna work is we're gonna go. We have a really good trivia plug-in here for Streamlabs.
Face each other. You go head to head.
Right.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to this. We're gonna go.
It's
to
actually
trivia.
me versus you versus the Discord.
So the way this works is it's
Well,
gonna be
it's not-
Corey.
it's
It's
really
gonna
us versus the
be
Discord.
Corey is administering the game, and it's gonna be Eric versus Dustin. I'm gonna keep score. Eric versus Dustin versus the Discord.
Are you keeping score on a... Do you have a graphic for it, or are you just keeping
No,
it
I'm
on
keeping it on the tablet.
I'm
here.
disappointed.
It's
I
gonna
thought
be
you were
E.
have a digital one.
I'm gonna put G for Grizz and D for Discord. And way it's gonna work is Eric and Grizz are gonna both write their answer on. Oh, that's the 60-minute timer
that's
going
okay.
off.
Let's
Yeah.
keep going.
They're going to both write their answer on their whiteboard and turn it around when I say, and if they get it correct, they get a point. And if they don't get it correct, they don't get a point. If neither one of them get it correct, then we're going to go to the Discord and see who is the first person in the Discord to have the correct answer. And if they win, if they get the correct answer, they're going to take home some of that fabulous Sign Esports loot that we have set up on the table over there.
We show you or the camera?
You can show me because the camera's probably not going to be able to see it. So what we have is about 10 categories, all of games that I happen to know Eric and Dustin both are relatively knowledgeable on, and I have curated trivia, 10 questions from 10 different games. So we are going to spin this wheel. If you're hearing this, you're going to hear a clickety-click Wheel of Fortune
I
sound.
only feel good about like 2 of these categories.
But if you could see it, you're going to be. It's just really intense. Here we go. And the first category is going to be Chrono Trigger.
Oh, sweet.
All right, so let's go to the first Chrono Trigger question. What is Robo's serial number, which he goes by until given the name Robo by Luca and the party?
Oh, dude.
You don't have long because we can't let people on the Discord be looking it up. All right, it's time to answer. Eric's answer is R66Y. Dustin does. Dustin does not have an answer. The correct answer is R66Y. Eric gets credit for that one.
Woo!
All right. Sorry, Discord. Going on to the next
kind
question.
of a hard one.
All right. Well, we'll see.
That's kind of
Dude,
hard.
I've only played through Chrono Trigger
I know,
once.
right? Well, maybe
Okay.
we're gonna get something. Maybe we're gonna get Shining Force.
Overwatch. Congratulations,
so-
you got
so
Overwatch. Dustin
I
knew
I
better.
feel like I
placement.
could
Okay.
have you on this one.
I got
Okay.
a sweet little. smiley
What
face.
map
You didn't draw it?
features murals? Are y'all ready?
Yep.
Yeah, I
Okay,
got a
what?
smiley face
Hearts
on
and a
that.
smiley face. Okay. What map? This is from Overwatch 1. I assume it's from Overwatch 1. I don't know if they could have this map in Overwatch 2 or not. Which map features murals of Junkrat and Warthog on the map? Looks like it might be going to Discord for this one.
I don't even know if this is even a map.
I mean, I don't think this is right.
Oh, guys, I just want to let y'all know we do have the correct answer already in the Discord.
I don't even know if this is even a map.
Eric says Junkertown. Dustin says Junkertown. The correct answer is Junkertown.
I did not even know if that was
So
even a
Eric
map.
and Dustin both
Sweet.
get a point for that one.
So does the Discord.
Spin the
then.
wheel. The Discord gets a point. Oh yeah, you know what? I could actually give the Discord points for that one. I'm gonna give the Discord
Oh,
points.
that was Chubb.
Yeah, but Chubb and Arrow, y'all only count as one, so the Discord gets 1 point. All right, let's go to the next
Arrow was
question.
right on both of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Arrow got
Arrow's destroying it.
R66Y.
While we're spinning for the next question, I'll tell y'all, except for Ogre Battle and Overwatch, I knew the answers to all these questions. Like, I only picked questions that I knew the answers
Well,
to.
Arrow, Dalton, Imperial, I would have eventually gotten.
You would have
if I
gotten
had
that.
time.
Okay.
All right.
Next category, Final Fantasy.
Okay.
And this is a mix. Final Fantasy is a whole lot of games, but I primarily tried to select ones from like the era of Final Fantasy
Okay.
that we kind of grew up with. So it's mostly 4, 6, some tactics, and some 7. All right, so let's go to the next. Let's go to the Final Fantasy question. Number 1. In addition to the basic rules of the game and an advanced battle class, what course is offered in the schoolhouse in Narsh? Y'all don't remember this?
What?
In the schoolhouse, right
I
off the
didn't
front
own
of
a
Narshi.
Super Nintendo.
Okay, one more time.
Okay, outside of Narshi, in the very beginning,
I remember
right at
the
the front
what you're
door,
talking
there's a
about.
schoolhouse off to the left, and they teach a class that's just a class of school. Look,
Okay,
Read the question one more time.
New question.
don't tell me
We're
easier.
going to a difficulty level that maybe we can aspire to
Field
complete.
science is what
All
Arrow
right,
says.
it's environment, huh?
field science.
Field science. That's pretty close. Environmental science is the answer to that. question. Environmental science.
Arrow,
that one.
Arrow
It's just-
can
it
take
was
my
so ridiculous that there's because it's like it's telling you about like how the active time battle system works and how like the map and the save points work, and then it's like over here is environmental science.
I don't remember
Okay,
that.
all right. So look, we're gonna do a different Final Fantasy question.
Clearly,
Hopefully-
Arrow can have my spot.
Hopefully, y'all
This-
can get this one. What is the name of Tifa's bar in Sector 7?
I've never played Final Fantasy VII.
Oh my goodness. Somebody,
See, I could get this one if I had time.
Doom, 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 doom.
I'm gonna give Arrow credit for field science. 'Cause that's pretty close.
Oh God.
Chub Chill is close.
Yeah, Heaven something. Is it called Seventh Heaven?
Yes,
Something like
it's
that?
called Seventh Heaven. I'm
yeah.
gonna give Eric credit for that. I guess. Okay.
Well, you need to give the stream and
I'll give
the
Discord credit also.
Yeah. The fact that they're on the spot probably ratchets the difficulty up a little bit more than you were probably
Yeah.
thinking.
Next time I'll play Halo. Okay.
Okay. Well, if it's campaign related, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. All right. This one y'all might get this one. Okay. This one's a little bit generic, kind of general knowledge. Which ODST turned Spartan 4 did sci? No, it's gonna be.
I only
fine.
know one, so I'm
Did sci-fi veteran Nathan Fillion lend his voice and likeness to in multiple Halo games?
I know that one.
Okay, but you know who Nathan Fillion is, though, right?
Yeah, I
Dawson?
love Nathan Fillion. I love Firefly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna love Halo even more when you realize. Let's see if the Discord gets it, because Eric got it, so the Discord doesn't win. Has the Discord gotten any correct? That
Yeah. One of the.
Discord has gotten everyone
no,
correct.
I know, but
Yeah, we
y'all
weren't
get
even
it?
close on field science.
Yeah, environmental science. That's the first one that Arrow really got. Yeah. So okay. So
Spartan Buck.
Spartan Buck is the answer to that one.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I really thought that was an easy one. I'm sorry.
I mean, it probably would have been had I played Halo.
Okay. All right. Maybe this would be a better. Maybe next time we'll have Dustin administer the game, and me and Eric can have a trivia showdown. Shining Force.
All right, I'll probably know something for this one.
Okay. Please be an easy question. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Good. This is a good question. I think y'all both will know the answer to this one. And the Discord has no chance of getting this one correct.
Yeah, nobody plays Shining Force.
No one in the Discord is going to get this question. During their first playthrough of the game,
right.
what ill-advised action did the founders of Sign Esports take early on in the adventure,
Do you remember this one?
effectively ruining one character for that entire playthrough of
Do you
the
remember
game?
this one?
Yes, I do.
All right. I see Eric writing a lot. Eric and Dustin both wrote. Dustin wrote discard a weapon. Eric wrote more specifically dropping Hans's
Hans's
arrows.
weapon.
Yes, I wrote dropping Hans's bow. I
Yeah.
think
We
technically.
didn't actually drop his arrow though. We gave it to Ken.
Is that-
Yeah.
gave it
We
to Ken,
dropped
yeah.
Ken's weapon. We
Okay.
thought he sucked, and then we
Do you
just
have
had
a-
these arrows that
Do
we
you have a
kept
Shining
passing
Force
around.
question that's not about our play? Like,
Yeah, I have read
go to
about
one that's not.
Shining Force specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, without even spinning.
Yeah, because
wheel?
the Discord had no chance on that one.
Let's let the Wheel of Fate decide.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Maybe it'll be Shining Force. What if it was?
I would be very surprised.
The Wheel of Destiny.
Oh, it's
skip
Chrono
the
Trigger.
spin again.
But you know what's right next to Chrono Trigger?
Shining Force.
Force.
Okay, perfect. Let's go Shining Force.
Okay. What is I can't write. What is the Phoenix? Oh no, I can write. I just can't read. Two different problems. What is the Phoenix character Peter appropriately misnamed as in the North America and UK versions of the Shining Force 2 manual?
Oh, his name?
What is his name in the
Do you
manual?
remember that?
Yes.
No, I
You-
don't.
you remember
don't-
when you hear it.
You'll remember when you hear it. He's named something in the manual that didn't stick in the game, and it's much more appropriate than his name Peter.
I'm just gonna.
Let's see if I'm for the Discord. Discord watchers, have y'all ever even heard of Shining Force? Let's see. All right, Dawson.
I don't know.
No.
Fire.
Fire. Okay,
Ash.
it's Ash.
Ash. You remember
Ash
that?
is the name.
No, I don't.
Yep, in the manual, Peter is named Ash.
Yeah.
I don't know that the Cats
Okay, we
video
got-
have the manual
maybe
in
not.
the rental.
2 more minutes. Let's do.
How
a
do y'all
couple more
know
questions. Cats video did have the manual. It's a photocopy. They
Okay.
copied all the
Yeah.
manuals, black and white, and put
That's
that in
right.
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But not all of them had it. I remember
No.
Shining Force 1 did.
Okay, Halo question. You ready for a Halo question?
The stream's
Yeah.
going to destroy us on this one, probably.
Yeah, probably so. Okay, this is easy. Which weapon is the key ingredient in the quick kill method commonly referred to as the noob combo? The Discord's got it.
Just one. It's just one, and then any other weapon.
Yeah, the
right?
other weapon is not as important.
Yeah.
All right, Eric wrote down plasma pistol. Dustin wrote down assault rifle. That's incorrect. So Eric gets the credit for that. The noob combo
Arrow
is
said battle rifle.
Is you do the battle. Plasma pistol battle rifle is kind of the most common, but really all that matters is plasma pistol fully charged. One shot takes down their shields all the way, and then you can shoot them in the head with pretty much any other weapon. And
I was
kill them
thinking of
quickly.
in
So-
the new Halo, one full clip of the AR takes their shields all the way down, then you melee them.
Yep.
Oh, they also noob tube. They have noob tube that they call grenade launcher noob tube sometimes. So you
Really?
can probably also say grenade launcher.
Yeah. All right. So I think Eric got that
Plasma
one.
pistol was correct.
Yeah. Chubb Chilla. Shout out to Chubb Chilla for getting that one correct also. I'll give the Discord credit for that. So far, the Discord has only answered one correctly that y'all didn't get at all. That was
Field science.
Field science, yeah. All right. So we're gonna do this. This is the final question, unless it's a category that we've already gotten. We're gonna do the final question on a
Unless it's
category
Chrono
we've not
Trigger.
yet gotten.
Chrono Trigger's coming up.
Diablo.
Oh, Diablo.
Diablo. Okay. All right. Diablo should be good.
Yeah.
I've played the first one
Yeah.
only.
What 3 classes were playable in the
there you go.
original Diablo
Yeah.
game?
Okay. I'm not 100% sure that I'm gonna get this. We need to know the actual names of the
Yeah.
characters.
No, it's not a proper name. It's
No,
a class.
I mean, but it's not just like the fighter.
No, you got to know
Right.
what the fighter's called, and yeah.
Corey, do you know
I have mine.
the expanded classes from Hellfire?
I definitely do not know that. So, okay, all right. So the correct answers, let's see me all's answers. Eric guessed Paladin, Sorcerer, and Amazon. Dustin guessed Warrior, Rogue, and Sorcerer, and that is the exactly correct answers. Warrior, Rogue, and Sorcerer.
Way to go.
Yeah, so Rogue, Amazon, that's kind of, I think they were calling Amazons in
Right. I didn't know.
Diablo 2.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it generally.
So Grizz gets the correct answer there.
So
Let's
it's
see if
Warrior.
Discord got
In
it.
Diablo 1, it's called Warrior?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see if the Discord got that one
Yeah.
correct, and then we'll call
But
it.
he had heal spells, though, didn't he?
Barb, Sorcerer,
Everybody could
and
pick up
Rogue.
everything.
Yeah.
He didn't start with anything. He started with really low intelligence, really low mana. Then you
Okay,
pick up
that's right.
the books off the ground
That's
to
right.
write them
That's
into your
right.
book.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was kind of the cool thing about the first
Yeah,
Diablo was
that's
everybody
right.
could do anything you wanted.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's enough time. We don't want to keep these guys here forever, and we don't want to use up all our trivia questions, although I think I need to go back and add some easier ones for next week. We're going to come back in probably 2 weeks, because it takes us a while to generate some content, and we all have day jobs. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Dustin, Eric, do you guys have any final closing thoughts until we come back in 2 weeks?
No, other than just tell us what you want us to talk about. I mean, we'll talk about literally anything that will not get us kicked off our platforms if people want to hear us talk about it. We are, I don't want to sound like too full of ourselves, but we are relatively knowledgeable about a lot of things. And we
Or we have 2 weeks to get that way.
yeah, or we have 2 weeks to get that way. So we will talk about pretty much anything people want us to talk about.
Yep. Dustin, closing thoughts?
I feel like Eric's statement is very
Overly ambitious.
has very underwhelming effect given that trivia round.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Well, for you.
I think Dustin, I may have been a bit unfair to Dustin in the trivia. I don't think the trivia challenge accurately reflected Dustin's knowledge. So
Well, having Chrono Trigger get rolled 4 times is kind of unfair to me.
yeah, I didn't expect that to happen. So, my last closing thoughts to double down on what Eric said is, if you want whatever you want us to talk about, tell us and we'll talk about it. That's what we're gonna do. And also, if you want to come on the show, we have this set right here. We have a 4th SM7B ready for you right here. So we're gonna get Scooter on here to talk about Halo. One day we'll get BBQ Bathrobe on here as a guest. We'll have all 4 founders on here one day.
And we can probably remote people
We can
in
remote
eventually,
people in from the Discord. I'm sure we can do that. Arrow, we can get you on. Sounds like Chubb might want to come be on the trivia challenge, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to come on the show, we would love to talk to you. We would love to reminisce about the good old days. I think we might be getting a visit from Professor Shy Guy to talk about the chiptune scene, VGM scene, and also reminisce. Maybe we can do a little music trivia, and Dustin will probably destroy us on that.
Maybe.
Maybe not. Okay. One last time, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Special thanks to Lake Charles Toyota for making all this happen, because all this gear, it's all paid for by Lake Charles Toyota. And every signed esports event that there ever has been and ever will be is paid for by Lake Charles Toyota. So thank you all for buying cars for Lake Charles Toyota. Thank you all for playing in signed esports events. Thank you all for joining signed esports, discord.gg/signed esports. And thank you all for watching the Founders Podcast.